Hello and welcome. We're looking at a scrim match of roughly low masters players. I've never seen this VOD before, so I'll be commenting in real time. I'll be analyzing mostly from the perspective of the Tracer, not so much team play stuff, just because it gets too hard with the amount of time that I have. So let's get started.
So gross, dude.
Okay, small thing. As DPS, I don't like DPS players to just charge straight out the window like this. Typically because you're never certain of what they might be like. You know, they might just annihilate you. There might be a blue beam rocket, a fire rocket coming at you, or a soldier rocket. So especially as Tracer, there's a good chance that you could just get one-shotted by a number of things. So I generally don't like DPS players to just rush out. Generally let your Divas, your Winstons, your Reinhardts go out first for literally 1 or 2 seconds, and then decide on, you know, if you need to stay back because they're spamming or whatever, or go for it. I know I'm harping on this a lot, but this is a really important thing, because if your opponents get a kill or get some nice ult charge, that's a huge advantage. And that, especially in the first defense, depending on how it goes, they might get that edge on you, and then that's how a snowball starts, right? Because if they win the first fight, it gets harder and harder for the offense to break that point, especially if they're running like a more static defense centric comp. So really, really important. You weren't punished for it now, but you will in the future, trust me.
Oh, speed boost is so much fat.
Season 2, I didn't even know every single
Freeze up top.
Oh.
I would have. Oh wow, your team just got decimated. When you're gonna do this blink,
every single
Freeze up top.
so right here, before you do this blink to this left side, which I don't mind necessarily, but try to look to your right to see what's happening, to see how your opponents are set up and positioned, etc.
Oh shit, there was a trap.
Yeah, so you're actually in an interesting position. Do you go back, or do you, like, you know, towards your teammates, or do you stay in this area? The way this unfolded, you lost 2 members. I would actually go back. There's a good chance, if the team is good, they'll kill this diva or demech her and then collapse on you. So there's a case to be made to try to stay behind your opponents, like on this left side of the map, which actually I generally like those kinds of things, like, you know, play with this side and dance with them and make them burn cooldowns and get them out of position. In this particular circumstance, because you guys just got, it's a 6v4, like a clean one, you probably don't want to do that. So
What is it right now?
Oh my god.
and there's Mercy. Yeah.
What a strat.
Oh, okay. Oh, he missed his flashbang. All right, well, okay, let's go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go, go, go. Win the 1v1. Win the 1v1. I believe. Nope.
No,
okay. He has Mercy Blue. You're just gonna die now. Okay.
Oh,
So let's talk about that, because again, I generally like those kinds of plays where when a play doesn't go so well, you're on attack. Well, actually, it's not even just necessarily for attack, but there are certain maps where there's certain situations where if your opponents won the fight but wasn't super convincing, as like a Tracer or a Genji, you can actually get way behind your opponents, and then you put them in a tricky position, because do they all collapse onto you? If they aren't decisive about that call, then that might put them in a situation where they're kind of scattered, or maybe they do collapse on you but they're slow about it. Then your teammates can get a really good positional advantage, and then because you're Tracer, you can be slippery and last a while. However, on this map, it wasn't a good call in this situation, because again, it was a 6v4. It was a pretty clean, quick win. Actually, 6v3, because they killed Mercy, I think, later. And also, Hollywood, on the side that you were on, doesn't have a lot of options to get behind your opponents. If you're on that right side, yeah, you can actually go towards spawn, towards their spawn, and you have tons of room to work with. So you actually did try to do that. You tried to go on that left side, and it didn't work out because of all the reasons I mentioned. So I would have liked for you to either just go back to your teammates or just die, because you actually staggered your team a little bit by doing this. Okay. Hope that makes sense.
Please.
I didn't.
What the fuck? Where it spawned?
Oh, whoo!
Okay, use it.
Hey, don't dive in alone, okay? Because that fucked us up a little bit there on that push.
Yeah. Don't waste time like that, guys.
Good, good. Oh,
Once the
Winston, what are you
fight's
doing?
lost, back out.
We need to
Wasn't
coordinate
horrible, I
here.
guess. Oh my god, but he wasted his bubble. Okay. Right here, you're being pretty dangerous by doing these kinds of plays. These kinds of plays with only 80 health, right? This is extremely
Once
dangerous.
the fight's lost, back out.
We need to coordinate here.
Oh, especially that blink in. Oh man. giving me a heart attack here.
Sorry, is Discord right now?
No,
Reinhardt's
no.
over here in this little.
Oh, you are playing with fire. Okay, there's a lot of unfortunately bad things to say here. Okay. One is blinking in with 80 health. That McCree's been pretty decent. He's been shooting you fairly well. He had that miss flashbang, but aside from that, okay, so that was bad, right? To go for this blink. Then also,
Sorry, is Discord?
you go in again for the second time to get. You're not gonna kill this guy. You're just getting ult charge, which I can't blame you for the ult charge. But again, you have 80 health. This is no good. So that's 2 strikes. Then you go for the recall, but again, you waited so long to get healed that you're only gonna recall with 80 health. So you're probably just gonna get exploded instantly by a number of things. In this case, it was Junkrat.
Reinhardt's over here in this little upstairs.
Can
Yeah.
you kill him? Stun him or something?
Okay, so yeah, well, man, okay. We'll keep this VOD review going, but I think I'm going to wrap it up soon because there are a lot of things you need to work on in terms of your decision making. Because, I don't know, just generally feels like maybe you have pretty good mechanical skill. I don't know, actually, that has yet to be seen, actually. Let's watch a little bit more. Okay, so let me go back.
The straight up play. Yeah, their team's literally so bad. It's just McCree doing everything.
Okay, so no, I don't mind this actually. I'm not gonna speak to this decision because actually this decision you're making here to kind of dance with them and pull them, stretch them out is actually a good thing. So let's keep this going. Oh, but don't. Oh, okay. You just put yourself in a position where, okay, this is fine. Now you're probably gonna want to shoot for a fraction of a second and then blink away. Because you're in flashbang range, right? So you're gonna want to blink very, very quickly here. Wait, why didn't he flashbang? Did he use it already? Did I not hear that?
This is McCree doing everything.
Oh, okay, there it was. Okay, great. Okay, cool. In that case, I was wrong about that analysis. Well, you played it correctly. Good. Yes. Cool. Yeah, cool. So yeah, so that was probably the first time I've seen you 1v1 someone because the last time the McCree had a mercy. So well done. And yeah, and your skill was on point, tracking was on point. Cool.
They're gonna wrestle it probably.
Yep. Good recall.
No, they got no.
Oh, you don't have a blink. Oh, you messed up that blink. No. Actually, if you don't mess up that blink, you probably get away. Let's see if you could have. So after this recall.
Probably. Yep.
Ah, I see what happened.
They've got no. Or actually.
Oh man. Let's see. Hold on. Right here, you could have actually just gone. You could have just gone out this window to your right, the one that's the one that's right there. Just blink out. Yeah, that would have been it. That being said, you did a good job here because you actually broke this defense. McCree is going to be so far away, like to come back to the spot that you're by this play you just made. You actually push them. They're going to have to go back onto their side of the map towards point, and that's going to allow your team to well, yeah, to actually push out because their team is suffocating you right now. So still a good play that you did this, even though you died.
With us.
Actually, you know what? Your death was actually so delayed that their McCree's actually gonna get there in time. So I take that back. Actually, is that him? No, that's not him. Oh yeah, that is him. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. So yeah. So actually, this is the second time you've done this where you try to get behind your opponents, but you're doing them in situations where again your team is getting crushed. So they're just going to chase you down, right? It's the obvious choice where they're like, okay, we crushed our opponents, chase down and kill that tracer. Again, going back to what I was saying earlier, if the fight wasn't won decisively by either side, those are the moments where you can actually do what you're trying to do twice now by getting behind your opponents. Yeah.
I'm dead here. I'm out of match.
Shield's going down. Shield's going down.
Speed boosting.
Are you dead?
Okay, a little bit. So when you're doing these kinds of pulse bombs, well, let me see that one more time.
Down. Shield's going down.
Speed boosting.
Are you dead?
I'm not quite. I think what happened was you wanted to go for this Reinhardt, but then you saw this juicy Mercy, and then you kind of were like, oh, what do I do? And then you went for it. I can't really fault you for that. Let's look at that one more time.
It's going down. Shield's going down.
Speed boosting.
Are you dead?
Yeah. To be fair, well, no, okay, we'll leave it at that. I think the idea was there. Obviously, the execution wasn't on point, but I don't mind you going for this pulse bomb.
You
saved me.
Okay, right here.
You saved me.
Right here, this car's in your way, but you held down your left click. Let's see. See, look at that. Like, right now is when you can start shooting again. For like, I don't know, how many frames was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yikes. Okay, that's about, what's your FPS? Yeah, that's about half a second where you're just shooting into this car. Oh, yeah, that's bad. What you're going to see really good players do is they won't reload as a tracer player. They see someone in their line of sight. They shoot them for, maybe a fraction of a second. Then they go out of line of sight. A really good tracer player is going to reposition, maybe with blink, maybe not, and then shoot the opposing player that they were on beforehand. But they're not going to, and the key thing is that they're going to wait, and they're also not going to reload. They're literally just going to get into position, then start shooting again. What not so great players do is either what you did, keep shooting while line of sight is blocked, or they will reload. They'll reposition and reload, and the repositioning just takes, sometime, in this case, about half a second would have done the trick. Actually, you had a blink. So actually, you could have repositioned almost instantly with your blink, and then kept shooting again. So again, you don't want to be on either side of the spectrum as tracer. You don't want to go for the reload when you have 30 bullets left, or 20, sometimes even less. But you also don't want to be the tracer that just shoots into the car in this case, right? So you literally, in this situation, all you had to do right here, you started shooting, cool, stop, blink to the right or move to the right, then keep shooting. And while you're doing that, while you're moving to the right, do not reload, because again, we see that mistake from tracers all the time. Okay, I think I'm gonna cut this video short. I think I've given you tons of feedback to work on. I don't like to give too much feedback in one video. Cool. So I like that you're trying to flank and get behind your opponents. That's good, but you're doing it at the wrong moments. You didn't really have the opportunity to do that. So you need to, in terms of decision making, you need to recognize that. You, like we saw earlier when you were going in with 80 health, that's pretty silly. You're not really considering. That just kind of feels like a disrespect against your opponents, right? And you definitely just can't do stuff like that. Blinks. You had that one blink that you messed up on where you blinked into like a wall or something. Blinks have been okay. Recall usage, not so great, pretty bad, but it's because you're being very greedy with your positioning and you're recalling in positions where you're not safe, right? You want to use recall in such a way where you're either using it to get all your health back and or to put yourself in a safe position. We saw that one where neither of those things happened. You recalled with 80 health, which you had before, and then you were still in a really bad position, right? Like you recalled into practically the same position you were 3 seconds before. So, yeah, so not great. Pulse bomb usage seemed okay from what I could tell. Execution not on point, but idea was there. I'm not sure if I saw you pulse bomb once or twice. I think just the one time. Cool. Yeah, so... yeah, sorry I didn't get to review more of your footage, but it does feel like decision-making wise, you have a lot to work on it. And just be mindful of these things, of your positioning, of, where your recall is going to place you, how much health your recall is going to place you with, when to flank, when not to flank, because right now it just feels like maybe... because if you watch my videos, you know that I tell tracers to flank all the time. Well, I don't say all the time, but the vast majority of the time. These are instances where your team is getting just stuffed so hard where you don't really have that luxury, and this map, at this point in the map, you don't have the path to take. It's not available to you because your team is getting stuffed so hard, and just because of the architecture of the map. So you have to kind of think of all these things, and that's what makes Overwatch so hard, is that it's such a dynamic game that you have to take into consideration all these factors. Cool. I hope this makes sense. If you like the video, please like it and please subscribe. Thank you.